Hello and welcome to this SlimDevOps Can I Count 17, and I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by not Peter, although I'm not delighted it's not Peter, but I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Primož. Hello Primož, how are you and welcome to the stream.
Hello, I'm doing great.
Thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. I think between the two of us, we will make one good person. That's the plan, at least. So, we're going to be trying to return a favor to our good friends at GitPod, who put out a request for assistance last week to package their Openvscode server for Linux. So that's what we're going to try and tackle today. So this is not Docker stuff, but actually I'm wearing the t-shirt and everything. This is like a little bit of a return to a past life for me. Between us, we've done a little bit of discussion behind the scenes, and we think that maybe making a snap may be the quick way to success on this one. And we'll find out. So, maybe before we get into this, I should also say there's a little bit of housekeeping here to do. So, let's just bring this up. So, next week, Slim.AI are going to be at KubeCon. And we have a packed schedule of live streams from KubeCon next week. The link here, so if you just go to Slim.AI and click articles, you will find this logo. And here is the complete list of what we're going to be doing. So I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we've got several live streams planned. You can find a description for each of those here. So that's what we're going to be doing, because not happy with, testing our luck at the Open Source Summit last week with live streams from the show floor. We're going to go again and do several from KubeCon. So get following here if you're not already, because we've got a bunch of stuff coming up on that front. But so here's the thing. There was a tweet. I don't know if I've got the tweet actually, but I've definitely got the project here. This is the project. So BigPod, you are a GitPod. Sorry, I should say it's going to be very difficult for me to not say BigPod, because we've been internet friends for some time. I've known you through various communities for some time, and I just know you by your internet handle BigPod. So it's going to be very difficult for me to say Primož, but
yeah.
You are something of a GitPod user, is that right?
Yes, that is true.
Okay, and this is a new project from GitPod, right?
Yeah, they first used what is known as Eclipse.AI, which is something of a fork of VSCode, but it's specifically made to be a web-based editor. But because of the changes to VSCode being more made to be run on the web because of the code spaces and all that, they just had to do a little bit of changes to VS Code to create what is Openvsx Code server. Okay,
so we're going to have a go at packaging that using snaps. I think the original request from Jeff was either a deb or a snap. And we're going to have a go at a snap because that cuts through some of the complexity. So I can see there's a bunch of people that have joined us in chat. So hello, Peter. I see you're here. It's weird to be doing this without you. I hope you'll be able to follow along. I know you're very busy. Hey, Jeff. Welcome back. Good to see you here. Tool Geese. Hello there. And Ubuntu Podcast Portugal. Yes, we're going to be snapping. So a different container technology. We normally do Docker tutorials here, but it's all the same container primitives at the end of the day. And this was one of the things that the Jeff at GitPod had shown an interest in. So I'm not sure if we're going to publish anything, because what I'd like to do is be able to hand something to the GitPod team and then walk them through the process of being a publisher for this thing. So we're just going to actually try and break the back of the technical problem, and then we'll have a discussion with the GitPod team about how they want to actually handle the publication of this thing. Right then. Hey Eric, hello there again. How are you doing? Right, okay, yes, you can just pretend that you're not working too hard at the moment. So this is the project, and I think you sent me a link earlier. Let's just bring this up here, which is the Docker file for this project. I could just click a link, but I'm going to do this. There we go. So this is the Docker file, so we can use this as like a little bit of reference. So there's some interesting things I can see in this at the moment, which is they're using Ubuntu 18.04 as the build platform. So we can do the same thing. Then there's some, a lot of Docker specific things. I did something like this in a recent Container 101 tutorial. And then they've got this here downloading an asset and creating some groups. So these groups and things, I don't think we're going to need to do any of this, because there are primitives in Snapcraft to start and run services. So I'm not sure we'll need to do that, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Work directory, we know what that is. I think this should be fine. I don't think we'll need to do anything clever there. This is interesting though. We probably will need to do this. And so I don't know what all of these environment variables are, but I know how to, translate that intent from a Docker file to a Snapcraft YAML. And then we've got this entry point. So this is 45 line Docker file, and we're going to try and create an analog snap. So how confident are you feeling?
Actually, a bit more confident than I felt a couple of minutes ago.
Okay, all right then. Well, let's get into a code editor. So this is a blank code editor, and hopefully I'm right in saying that you and I are connected. There we go. You are still connected to me here. So the idea is that we can both collaborate on this. So I'm going to start by creating a blank Snapcraft project, and in fact, let's make a new directory. So what should this be called? This is Openvscode releases is where the Docker file exists. So it should be called this, right? It should be called that. So let's go and make a directory. Whoop. I'm also paying close attention to see if Danny is able to join us, because Danny is also familiar with all of these things and in the SlimDevOps community, and also has worked with snaps in the past as well. So we'll make a blank Snapcraft YAML. So there we go, and we will open, oops, helps if I can type, or at least hit tab correctly, don't save. So there is a blank YAML. So we know this is going to be called Openvscode server. I'm getting there.
Yeah, it took a bit of time.
And by default, Snapcraft defaults to Core 18, which is based on Ubuntu 18.04 So we don't need to change that. We will just change this line. For the moment, we'll just work off like the tip of Git to see how we get on. So the version, if we use that, Snapcraft will inject the current Git tag and commit hash. And then we've got some project details here, so we can use this directly from the thing, although that is going to be more characters than Snapcraft will allow, because this is a 79 character limit. So I'll put that there. We'll then paste it in here as well. So run upstream, run, so let's just call it run VSCode on a remote machine. Through a modern browser. From anywhere. Is that going to hit the 79 character limit? We'll find out. What am I looking at here? We're looking at I haven't got the stats turned on, bother. So we'll just leave that there for now. And there we go. So I'm going to be ultra confident. We will set the grade to stable. This is basically stating that
it is 74 characters.
74. Oh, there we go. We've done a good job. So we're going to set this to stable. This is because I'm familiar with snaps and Snapcraft. This will just save us some time in the long run. And confinement. Technically, I should go dev mode. Yeah. So I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of snaps. Those of you that know me know that, I know about this stuff. We're just going to go straight to strict confinement, which means a fully confined thing. Because as I understand it, and I think this was your assessment, this is a service. This is a daemon that is accessible over the network only. So the confinement requirements are quite simple to describe. So we'll go for strict because our understanding is it should just require network access. So that's some of the metadata. I think that's enough of that. And now we get into the nuts and bolts of it, like how do we make this thing? So, gosh, it's been a while since I've done this. So the parts. In a snap, the parts are the source code, the software assets that compose the snap. So I think it's fair to say that our first component is going to be the Openvscode server. And we'll start there. Because at this point, I'm not sure. Because I think, BigPod, you did a little bit of due diligence and you said this was a Node.js app, right?
Yeah, it is Node.js.
Okay.
App. So it already included servers, so this
is the Docker file, which I don't see any reference to Node.js because this just consumes a release of a big old tarball. So do you know what's in this tarball?
All the files required to run, basically.
All of the node requirements as well?
I think so, because
going
through I actually build a Docker file and it just runs, so there has to be node requirements already in there.
Okay. All right, well, let's grab this then as the link to the tarball, and we'll use a plugin in Snapcraft called dump, which basically says take this thing and extract it into the container. So that's what we're going to do. But then they've got a few variables in here. So they've got release tag. So we need to go and figure out the equivalent of that. argument, so they pass this in. So I think what we'll do is we'll cheat a little bit. I'm going to guess that release tag is this, basically. This version number. Do we think that's what the release tag is? No,
Probably.
It's a bit more. Maybe it's this. Is it? It's got open like that. I think we'll soon find out. Can you see it? Maybe I need to. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to switch away then. Let me just zoom that in a little bit. So I think the release tag is actually, here we go, tags. There we go. Translation, and then further down the page here we have, here's some release tags. So I think the release tag is that whole character string, not just the version number, like so.
Yeah.
So we'll cheat a little bit. What we'll do is we'll now come back up here and we'll change our version, and we'll hope. Oh.
Just check the download link itself, and yeah, it is the whole thing.
It's that whole thing. Okay,
yes.
So I think then we replace this with, it's something like Snapcraft release version or something. I'm gonna need to go and check this. So let's just do a quick search for Snapcraft build environment variables. Here we go. So what have we got here? Snapcraft project. Oh, it might be project version. There we go. It's this. This is what we want. Snapcraft project version. So I'll just explain what I'm doing here. So Snapcraft project version basically takes this string that we defined here, and it does string interpolation. So there we go. Snapcraft project version and release tag again. So I think we can drop that in.
Same
there.
thing goes here, yeah.
There we go. So that should technically deposit a thing. So, I tell you what I didn't test is actually if I've got all of the underpinnings to build a snap running. This could be #awkward. So let's let's just go back up here. Let's start a terminal. And we'll just zoom in a little bit, because the last time I tried to build a snap, everything fell over. So let's just see how we're going. Let's go to CD Snapcrafters Openvscode server Snapcraft. Let's just do debug. This should use multipass, which is another virtual machine to create a clean build environment. Let's hope this works. And then I've got some environment variables set for my Snapcraft build environment to maximize the CPU cores and threads and stuff like that I've got available. So whilst that's having a think, I'll just have a little look in chat here. So hello Monica, thank you very much for joining us. You've got quite the team player. This is a team effort because I'm here providing the Snapcraft know-how, but Primož is going to be providing the GitPod know-how, because you've been running GitPod and a number of its components for some time on your home dev server. Is that right?
Yes, I've been running sometimes more successfully, sometimes less, GitPod for my internal stuff that I keep secret. Sometimes for what I use, sometimes because it's horrible code.
So for those people that aren't familiar with GitPod, what is it and why is it useful?
It's basically a development environment in cloud. So it deploys a whole development environment inside a container, or inside of a cloud instance, depending on where you are, where you are having or where you're hosting. So if you're using their SaaS service, then it's inside of their infrastructure, or if you have their Kubernetes installation or Kubernetes deployment, it is on your infrastructure on Kubernetes inside a container, and you have everything from an editor to all the programs and tools required to actually debug and run the software.
Okay, well, we got the URL right because it's downloading a big tarball at the moment. So we've actually got past the point at which the VM has been stood up with the appropriate tooling inside it, and it's just sucked a massive tarball in. There we go, it's extracted it, and we have a snap. So this is, for those of you that are Docker aficionados, this is the equivalent of having a Docker image. So if I look here, here's the snap, it's 67 megabytes. And a snap is a squashfs file system. So we can do, let's just think about this, unsquash. Yeah, we can unsquash -L and point it at this, and then we'll pipe that through less so we can see what actually ended up inside this container. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's some extensions there. There's bin code. So is that the entry point? Possibly. I know that there was a script they had, but
that's the entry point for code environment, but not for the server, which is server.js.
Okay. So we could then grep for server. Here we go. Was this the entry point? Server.sh.
SH is the script that does to run the server correctly, independent of the environment you're on.
Excellent. So I think we're making a good start there in that we have something, but that's not enough. So what we'll do is this YAML at the moment just basically says grab that tarball, shove it in a snap, but it doesn't tell the snap anything about how to actually execute that thing. And I sit here as my brain whirs. How do I do this? It's apps. Apps is the thing.
Yeah.
So let's just, for simplicity, we'll call this the same name. And we will do a couple of things. We will say command is equal to, and I think it's just server.sh, right? So we're not going to try and run this as a daemon just yet. We'll just actually like run it as an executable, because, you know, baby steps. But the other thing is we probably need to define some plugs and things that are called plugs and sockets and interfaces in the Snap world are what cut through the AppArmor and seccomp confinement that exists in order that you can expose host facilities to the Snap. So I tell you what, it's amazing how quickly your brain forgets, but I think it's plugs, yeah, and I think the one we want is network
and network bind.
Yeah, and there's one other that I'm tempted to add, but I'm not going to do that just yet because it's possible that this is sufficient. So what we're basically doing, these plugs are a bit like firewall rules. So these are saying these are the facilities to open up from the snap to the host operating system. Network means this application needs to operate as a network client, and network bind means this application wants to bind to a socket to be accessible to the outside world. And neither of these are what are called privileged. So we don't need any additional requirements. So I think that's all we need. We'll just go back here and we will redo this. The reason I'm putting --debug on the end of Snapcraft is that if I get something catastrophically wrong, I'm close there, it will actually drop us into a shell inside the build environment, and we can iterate on the fixes. So I'm just gonna look in chat here a second. So almost production ready. Yeah, I'm not that confident yet, Takov. We'll get there in due course. And I see Peter's very busy getting us all set up for next week for sure. Hello, Yannick. Thanks for stopping by. Right. Okay then. And Tool Geese. Right then, so what am I being told here? The shell wrapper will be generated for the command as it does not conform. Okay, that's fine. So Snapcraft has some smarts to put a wrapper around the thing that I've made. I'm going to, just for fun, install the snap that we have made. And because this isn't coming from the store, the snap store, I have to say --dangerous, which means I acknowledge that this snap is of unknown provenance. And now I need to put in my super secret password, and those of you that know me will be able to tell the world what my password is. Right then, so there we go. So we have a snap of Openvscode server. I really don't think this is going to work. But if we do a snap list and we just grep for code, we can see there it is. X1 means it was locally installed, and this is the first revision. Snap info and then Openvscode server. There we go. So it's got some of the metadata that we've supplied. And if I do snap run, what should I expect? If this works, BigPod, what am I expecting?
I believe it's output of the.
There we go. It didn't find the script. So, oh, that's because I've put a. That's my mistake. See, this is why this is why we needed a professional like Alan Pope to come and do this. I don't think I needed that. And so let's try that again. Let's rebuild that. It shouldn't take long because it's just a change. There we go. Let's hope this is right. There we go. Okay, it's figured out some different things. And let's reinstall it. There we go. And let's try and run it. Okay. That has done something.
Something, and
it's done something.
It should be available at that.
It should be available there. So let's do that. Let's bring up a browser. If this works, I will be frankly astonished. Holy cow, that's close.
Yeah.
That's remarkably close.
Yeah. Now I have a task for you.
Okay.
Open, I believe it has integrated terminal. So we should get hamburger menu.
This one.
On other side, the
this one.
Yeah, this one. And terminal.
Terminal. New terminal.
New terminal. And it crashed. I can tell you why. Because it is strict confinement, and it doesn't have fish installed.
Interesting. So
I learned that the hard way.
Okay.
1 hour I was trying to fix all it was I had fish set as my default shell.
Okay. So this is an interesting point. So snaps being fully confined means that there are certain things they cannot do. One of the things that a confined snap cannot do is execute arbitrary binaries, which is absolutely a requirement of a terminal. So given that this has a terminal feature where you would want to run different shells, for example, or pipe things through arbitrary commands, this cannot be a strictly confined snap. It has to be what's called a classic snap, which means no confinement. So we're going to need to go back and tinker with this. So we'll change this.
Well, you can get it working classic if you have everything what you know you will need installed as a package. Like fish and all that, and including Git. Git needs to be in there.
Yeah, there's a lot, because this could be doing anything, right? This could be invoking Python or Ruby or
.NET,
or Node
anything.
or
anything,
now,
basically.
This may look like a simple change, simply changing confinement from strict to classic. I have almost zero confidence that this alone is going to be enough, but it is the first step down the road. So we will make that change, and we will rebuild the snap. I'm currently running the thing, so let's kill that. I assume that died. So I think I can just I probably need to clean this, because it's changed confinement model. So we'll clean the container that cleaning the build environment that we're building in, and then we'll rebuild it again as a classic snap, and we'll let that work. That didn't take too long last time round, so we'll give that a go. So thanks very much for those of you that are new here that have given us a follow. We appreciate that. We've just crested over 100 subscribers to the SlimDevOps channel. We're delighted about that. So thank you all very much for showing an interest. And this is obviously our first excursion into the snap world here on SlimDevOps. We're usually dealing with what you'd consider more familiar container technologies, such as Docker and what have you. And over on our YouTube channel, we have a back catalogue of zero to hero tutorials for getting up to speed with container technologies if you're new to that. And if you're not new to that, that's fine too. We're working on some sort of intermediate to advanced topics that we're going to be presenting here in the not too distant future. So yes, Ubuntu Portugal. We did do unashamedly a little bit of 100 subscriber dance on Monday earlier in the week. Hey Ali, welcome back. So Ali says, confining IDEs is always fun. As a general rule, IDEs that are snaps, they're classic because of this very reason. And it turns out this is an IDE. And Ali goes on to say they're a big fan of the JetBrains IDEs. Yeah, they are. They're decent kit for sure. There's several of those that I really like. And what was the one? PHP Storm. Occasionally when I dip into the PHP world, it's been a long time since I've done that with any regularity, but I do like PHP Storm. It's really nice.
Here we go.
Okay, so let's do snap install the thing. And this time I have to, although the snap is classic, I have to acknowledge the fact that this is a classic snap. So we're installing it, and we're going to run it. I really don't think this is going to work. So there's some pretty unhappy looking error messages there. But let's connect to this. Oh, in fact, I've probably got that open already, haven't I? So let's reload window.
And it is there.
It's close. It's far from perfect, but it's also not completely broken.
Some images that are broken, but yeah.
New terminal, and hey, check it out. So it's not all doom and gloom. We actually have a thing. So technically, we can go for a little bit of inception. This has been a theme of the day for me. We can go to Openvscode server. If I type code here, it's gonna.
It should open up here.
It should open up this, shouldn't it? So let's do that. There it is. So
I think I'm gonna do everybody a favor and say go back to Get Started tab and click Dark Theme.
Dark. Oh yeah, that's not a bad idea. So okay, dark. There we go.
My eyes, thank you.
So I tell you what, I'm surprised we've got that far with so few things. So how are we doing? Their Docker file was 45 lines. We're at half that, and I'd say it's half working, or maybe more than half working.
Yeah.
So I wonder why we've got these broken images, and I wonder how we fix that. That's something we might have to take up with because what we need like a language domain expert or an application domain expert in order to help figure out what we've not got right there. But I mean, have you used this before?
Actually, I have one instance of it running on my own in my own Kubernetes cluster. I actually deployed it yesterday just to see how it works, and I'm actually trying to access it right now to see if those images are broken or not.
Ah, that would be good to know.
I'm just trying to figure out what's the port of it on my network in the IP.
Okay. So I'm just gonna take a little look here.
So it's 63.
And
I don't even have those three. I don't even have the team chooser.
You don't have what? Sorry.
Those three images that are broken. I don't even have the written light, dark, or what was the third option. So that part for me is missing in the Docker.
Oh, is that because, mate? Because I noticed that the version I'm running is only like a few hours old, so maybe I'm using a newer version.
So yeah, that could be. I deployed it yesterday, or it was actually by my time today at like 2 a.m. So yeah, things could be a bit different.
So I wish I could click on those and say like reveal the URL underneath, because it's staggeringly close. So I mean, let's just have a little look around at like how good, bad, or indifferent this is. Should we try and install an extension, a VSCode extension?
Yeah. I should mention that this isn't actually using the Microsoft VSCode repository, but a separate repository hosted by community. That is because Microsoft repository is actually protected by a license that you can only only connect to it from an official release.
I see.
And those extensions that are hosted on it or uploaded to it, you cannot use in any other release unless they have a open source build, or you can build it yourself. For example, as we see, Python is MS Python, so it's Microsoft's, but it is open sourced by Microsoft. So it is actually built by the guys who host this.
So this is like an open implementation of the VS Code marketplace. So do things like VS Codium use this in order to get extensions?
I believe it's the same.
Interesting.
It's called Openvsx, VSIX, and it is made by Eclipse. If I remember correctly, it was made, I believe, before or in conjunction with Eclipse.AI, which also uses VS Code's protocol for extensions.
Okay, so I've noticed that this is looking bit. Oh, it's done it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was about to say that doesn't look like it's going to work, but it does actually look like it's worked. So let's do code development. I've got a silly script somewhere.
Just some information. You can find the Openvsx repository at open-vsx.org. It has quite a few extensions, 1,300 extensions, almost 1,400, by everyone from Red Hat, Microsoft extensions, GitLab, and more. Community contributed.
I'm just seeing if I can find. There it is. Redirect live chat. People who've been here before will remember this. So there's a bit of Python here. I thought if I opened up some Python, here we go. We can actually see that. Like, there we go. Look, the pylint install. Is this going to work?
Let's see. Yes, it works.
This is remarkably close to functional. I think I wouldn't be too embarrassed to actually offer this up as a first effort. So I think what we should do is probably just go back and look at the original Docker file and see if there's anything in there that, because we haven't referred to it since we got this far. So go back to the original Docker file and see if there's anything there that we should probably include. And also at the moment, this isn't running as a service, and I don't actually know if that's what the GitPod guys want or not. I don't know if they want it running as a service or as a standalone thing. I'm going to assume it's a service, but we could do both, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, that's rather good. I'm going to just close that tab. I am actually staggered we've got this far. We can see what it was up to here. I wish I knew why those files weren't working, why those images are busted. I wonder what that could be. I wonder if they're hard coded in some way and we're just on a different path. So we'll get rid of that. This is great. This is good. So let's go and look at the original Docker file, which is here. So this is the stuff that's about running it as a service. So maybe we should install Git inside the container. Just to be sure it's there, and wget, seeing as though they specify those things. Oh no, they just use wget to download the tarball.
Yeah.
So we'll install Git. Actually, does VS Code not come with a native,
native Git
an implementation of Git?
I think it works on top of Git, but
okay.
Or maybe not, but some people are still using terminal to do Git, so they might be used to that more than anything.
Okay. So we will add. Oh gosh, I can't remember what the right terms are. It's build packages, and that's not what we want. I can't actually remember. I'm going to open up another snap of mine as reference because I've actually forgot. This information is falling out of my head. So development Snapcrafters OBS Studio. There we go. So in order to include apt packages, stage packages, of course it is. So stage packages, and at the moment we just think Git is the only thing. So what that says is, in addition to including the content of this tarball, also pull out Git from the Ubuntu archive into this container. So we'll save that. We'll just rebuild and then we'll go and look. So Snapcraft debug. So Snapcraft, just like Docker, knows what stages in the build lifecycle it's built and has got cached, and it will only do what's necessary to update itself. So we should just see it pull in Git as a new thing into the build. We don't need to watch that, but that's what it's going to do right now. And there's the dependencies for Git being pulled in.
Yeah.
So if we go back and look here, we're effectively doing these steps because the Snapcraft YAML knows that if you have a tarball, it should be extracted. So that's happening. So this, I imagine, is
inside the container that you run as root.
Yeah, so this is to run this service inside the container as not root. Is
yeah
because
they are at the end they specify a username user.
Okay. Okay, what's this? And they also
they basically create a workspace directory in which you open if you're in Docker container, so that you have some sort of workspace already there.
So we could... Oh, we don't need to, because this is a classic snap now, so I don't think we need to do this. And that's the work directory. So this is all new. So maybe these things I probably need to add. And they've got this. So I wonder if this server root thing might help with the broken images. Oh, I've lost your audio for a moment there.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, my thing sometimes break.
So I tell you what.
I think it should, but I think that we will need additional work for that, because the last one of the run. If you look at the last one of the run, where it goes and copies. The last one. It has /home/release tag. We would need to create that, I believe.
Yes. Oh, because this is where it extracts it to.
Yeah, it needs a different path.
Okay, so we would just need to set this open VSCode server root differently based on the location for the snap.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's take all of those and let's incorporate those into the snap. Oh, I'm in the wrong virtual screen. It's a common problem, at least for me. So I'm just going to catch up here. So enjoy your dinner, Monica. So Ali says, maybe a silly question, but does all the asterisks code have the ability to introspect snaps on the Snap Store? So Ali, something got censored or something there. What was the ****? But does
maybe
code...
a link or something like that.
I don't know. If you could ask your question again, I'll try. Oh, here we go. If you can ask your question again, I mean, Slim.AI, you know, the people you work for, does it? So Slim doesn't have any Snap integration. It's just, well, I say just, it's containers, you know, Docker containers.
Docker containers, OCI containers.
Yeah, exactly.
Specific.
Yannick's getting excited about the prospect at 100 followers on his channel. So follow French Guy CH if you're not already, because he's doing lots of Flutter development and interesting things, turning Raspberry Pis into Stream Decks at the moment. And Ali says, I've got another. No questions are silly, Ali. All the questions you like. If I load my project in this and click run, where does it run?
I think I'm gonna take this one. It's
Go on.
actually as it goes on, it's assuming the container is running on a server somewhere in the cloud. It will be running in that container.
Right.
So wherever it is the VS Code instance, the Openvsx Code server instance is installed, that's where it will be running inside, because the terminal you're running inside the containment, or in this case on your machine, where in the Snap, where we work.
Yeah.
Currently.
So in my case right now, it's going to be running on my machine because that's where I have the Snap installed. But as Primož correctly says, I don't think I need to set that home directory. I'm going to overlook that. But as Primož says, that you would probably be running this, and it will be running somewhere, in the public or maybe private cloud somewhere, and therefore when you click run, it will be running on that container instance. Oops. Sorry, got carried away. Lang, this is editor. Those were well positioned Right, okay. Git editor is going to be, and then this we probably need. This is the line we think we need to change.
Yeah, and
so using the little bit of insight we had earlier, we should be able to change that to be, if we go to a terminal, this one here, if we unsquash our container and just take a little look at that, we should be able to see, well, it's just in the root, isn't it? So actually, I think the server root of this thing is the root of the Snap, which is therefore just Snap.
I think so, yeah.
So that's a guess, but it's the best guess I have, and maybe it doesn't need those braces. So what do you think? Does that look like a reasonable?
Yeah, I think it is reasonable.
Let's give that another build then, and we'll see how we go. And is there anything worrying in there? No, we could probably firm up what's called the command chain a little bit, but we'll install that Snap again. So it's got the same name because we've not actually changed anything in the version, in the semantic version number. It's the revision has changed. So we will now Snap run that thing. There it is. It's running on port 3000 again. So over to my browser and localhost 3000. Oh well. How do I get to that home page thing?
I think you need to open it from completely
home?
close everything, but not sure. I think that is one-time thing, so we would have to clean it, I believe, because it remembers everything, but not sure.
Oh, it's not is it not this? No, it's not that.
No.
Oh, how am I going to do that?
I think it's on first run it opens that, and then it doesn't anymore.
Bother.
I think that's a first run thing.
I mean, I'm gonna say I can notice a couple of subtle differences. I feel like this has made I think this has made a change. Oh, help. Get started. That was it.
No.
No, it wasn't.
Click Get Started with VSCode.
This one.
I believe this. And choose the look you want, the first one. You can click it.
Oh, it's not perfect, but it's close.
On shortcut to access everything, it does actually have an animation. So
okay,
some stuff are working, some stuff are not.
Okay,
maybe this is actually broken in Docker as well. We don't know.
I don't know. Well, maybe that's something we can take away. I feel like the last thing we need to do is turn this into a service rather than a command. So that would be, how the heck do we do this? Can I remember how to do this? I think no, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look it up. I did it so infrequently as well. Oh, that's the wrong browser entirely. Come on, brain. Which browser am I using? That one. There we go.
Yeah.
I know this looks simple from everyone's watching perspective, but there's an awful lot of moving parts behind the scenes of the stream. So Snapcraft service, I think is, oops, I'm in the wrong screen. Snapcraft service. This is what we want. Services and daemons. So there's a command, daemon simple. Oh, well, that should probably do it then. That's probably all we need to add.
Yeah.
That will probably do. That will probably do for the purposes of. So we will rebuild. And the difference is now when we install it this time. So we'll just rebuild the snap. But when we install it this time, it will actually, behind the scenes, instantiate a systemd service and start that service. So if we snap install, it should actually almost forgot my password was test there for a minute, Yannick.
I actually installed a completely empty container of VSCode, and yes, those 3 images are broken in Docker.
There we go.
As well.
So here you can. Oh, they're broken in Docker as well.
Yeah.
Oh, success! I'm chalking this up as success. In which case, so here you can see I've just done a PS for code, and you can see that here it is actually running. So that should mean that if I go to my browser, here it is, reload window, we're up and running. It's now a service rather than a command. So there we go. You know what? I am actually astonished we got to this point.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
The first time it ran, I was like, wow, that did it quickly. Because normally it's a lot more of work to get things started. Once you get things started, it's pretty easy, but that part can be sometimes a bit problematic.
So Ali asks the question, it's a service running as root, and yes, we haven't done anything to coerce the user that service is running under, and yes, it's a classic snap, so we want to do something about that. I think what we'll do is we'll take that detail away, because I know that that's possible. It's been a while since I've done it, so I believe that was one of those things that was in the works and I've not looked at in a little while, but I believe it's possible to stipulate the UID/GID that the service runs under. And I'm not going to get into that just now because we've actually got like a POC here that we can go back to our friends at GitPod with and say, well, look, we've got this far. Tell us where it's broken based on your expectations of how your software should work, and then we can behind the scenes, iterate on this and improve things and make it better. I'm actually quite pleased with how this has worked out. So Yannick says you need a t-shirt with your own password printed on it. Well, not SlimDevOps. That's definitely me. I definitely need my password printed on my t-shirt for sure. Well, thanks very much, Primož. I am delighted that we've got that far. So
yeah.
I think I will get in touch with... Are you in the GitPod Discord?
Yes.
You are? Okay,
yeah.
Right. Then I posted in there... Let's just see. I'm just looking at the other screen. I posted in their contributing channel. That felt like the right place to post earlier. So I think I'll tag you in there and say, hey, look, we've made a start on this. This is what we've got. And how do you want us to proceed, and we'll take it from there. And maybe it's going to be a slightly busy week next week later in the day when KubeCon is underway, but maybe sort of not horrifically early, but maybe during some mornings our time, because you're in Slovenia, I'm in the UK, so we're quite close in terms of time zone. Maybe in the mornings next week we can do a little bit of a follow-on from this and share some guidance and direction we've had from the GitPod team and see how we can refine this over the next couple of days or so.
Yeah.
Nice one. All right, is there anything else you want to add that I might have missed in any of that? Did I miss any comments or any nuance in what we're trying to make this software do?
No, I don't think so.
Wonderful. Well, there you have it. Surprising success. So thank you very much for those of you that stopped by. It's always good to see your familiar faces there. Well, this wasn't even so Peter's just commenting in the live chat that this was a good job and it was more successful than some of our tutorials. This wasn't even a tutorial. We were literally winging it, and I think we got lucky down to the quality of the release tarball that GitPod put together, because clearly that had 99% of the ingredients packed inside it. So yeah, that was relatively easy. So Eric, you like this style. What did you like about this? What did you like about this one? It's an interesting comment. Eric was just saying he likes this style. I'm not sure it has a style other than unplanned. But I'm always interested to know practical and sounds like real work. Okay. All right, good. Like a project. Yeah. Good. Wing it. Life philosophy too. Yeah, I got lucky this time, Yannick. Let's speak of let's not speak of what happened on Tuesday. Okay.
Normally you don't get so lucky.
Sometimes you don't. Yeah, you can get unstuck. But that's why I'm thinking we'll wrap this up here, because I think we've got a good stopping point with which to go back to the GitPod team and say, look, we've got something, and how do we take it forward? So thanks very much, Primož, for joining me. It was a pleasure, and I'll look forward to working with you on this a bit more next week.
Yeah.
Before we go, where can people find you on the internet?
People can find me on Twitter with BigPod98 and on YouTube. I sometimes stream there and do videos about everything and anything concerning technology and Linux and containerization. And I might sometimes even drop some videos on rockets. That's my second passion.
Is it Kerbal Space Program? Is that?
Yeah. That's the game I play a lot.
Very good. Right, well, there you go. As it's my time and Big Pod's time Friday evening, there's your hot tip for the weekend entertainment, a game called Kerbal Space Program. If you've never played it, it's bags of fun. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much for joining me. Thanks for your help, and I look forward to tidying this up a bit more with you next week.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Speak to you soon.
Goodbye.